noticed that part of it. I was caught up in it with these. Oh. Oh. Oh no. Oh no.
We'll open it up for questions if you
Oh,
want.
the hard questions are coming. Rick, bro, do you have reception here? Rick, you just be ready to go. How many bars do you have, Rick, bro? Oh, you might need to stand outside the whole time. You can watch from outside. It's a commercial.
All right, I think we're ready to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2018 Azusa Pacific Football National Signing Day Press Conference. Victor Santa Cruz will be with us in just a second to talk about the class. But my name is Joe Ryan. I'm the Sports Information Director. Wanted to give you a little bit of information first about the football team. Just to recap the 2017 season, Cougars went 7-4. Weston Carr, wide receiver, was a unanimous All-American. As we look towards 2018, the open date you saw on the schedule when the schedule was first announced has now been filled with North Alabama, a three-time Division II national champion. So the championship schedule is complete now, 11 games, Division II opponents. In addition to the 8-game GNAC schedule, there are 3 non-conference opponents with a combined 32 playoff appearances. So that schedule is complete. We're all very excited to see that in the fall. But now we're really here to turn our attention to the signing class, the 20 student athletes who've decided to continue their football career in college at Azusa Pacific. This is the 4th class that's been signed under the NCAA National Letter of Intent program, and it is the largest signing day class since Azusa Pacific has joined Division II. And I'm sure you want to hear about it, so let's meet the 2018 Azusa Pacific Football Signing Day class, introduced by head coach Victor Santa Cruz.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it very much. This is obviously a great day for Azusa Pacific, the whole community. As the head football coach, I couldn't be more proud of just the amount of effort that the staff put in, our community, the collaboration that came together. So this is what I'm about to talk about, the kind of men that were represented in this signing class. I want to make a big thanks to the community of Azusa Pacific for what they came together. There's a lot of people that put the work in to bring it together, but I do want to make sure I name some people by names. First off, with our administration, President John Wallace. Him being the leader of our campus, he gives us the ability to do what we do and to give us the vision and the mission. I think what makes it so attractive here for these prospective student athletes. Multiple times coming on this campus, the visitors, the recruits, those interested that came, and there were hundreds that came on campus, if not over 1,000. When you look back all the way to the open houses that we've had in the junior days, there's a constant theme happening is that people will say, man, this is a community, it's a family oriented, it's welcoming, it's a place that people feel like I can be comfortable and I want to be, and they can see themselves really growing into the type of person that they envision. Dr. Dave Bixby and Bob Johansson, their continual support and the leadership you give is phenomenal. They are friends, they are leaders, they are people who are mentors to me, they're outstanding. And Dr. Franson, I can't say enough about this gentleman, about all he's done for athletics and what he will be doing as he moves into a new role this next year, but I appreciate him very much. Gary Pine, our athletic director, one of the guys I love going to work with. He's a boss of all bosses. That guy is outstanding, and he knows how to lead and he knows how to help, and that's why I really love working for Gary. And obviously he can't do it alone, so Diane Baruth, his assistant, makes things possible for us. But I want to come back to the community part of it, because Dr. Stanton, our provost, and leads the faculty that made this recruiting possible. In all of our recruiting visits, we reached out to the faculty members and asked them to come and have lunch with us, have lunch with the recruits, and they are more than willing to do that. And for our recruits to be able to see not only the variety of degrees of possibilities we have here, but just to be engaged with the professors and see hear the one-on-one and anecdotal stories about this is why this degree is going to fit you and be the equipping you're going to need to become a leader for that next chapter in your life after your university experience. So Dr. Stanton, I appreciate your leadership, but I do want to thank the faculty as a whole for all they've done. I want to also just talk about the compliance committee and Peyton for what you've done, Peyton Williams, Jacqueline Freeman for all your help and the we made you do some mad dashes along with Heather Ham to get some things done, and we appreciate your leadership. Paul Flores Jr. and just all that you do, Paul, to help that committee and the whole compliance committee. And then I just want to also just make sure I mention Paul Flores Sr. and our faculty representative, what they do, what he does to connect the athletics to our academics. But circling back, our admissions liaison, Carly Buys, is a huge help to what we do to become successful. And there's more support staff such as April Hoy and what she has in her athletic training. And I mean, I know I'm going to be missing a few, but I'm probably going a long way. Guys like Brett Charleston for all the help he did to make sure we're prepared for these visits and prepares the equipment and the leadership he brings to our team. So coming back full to really just the staff, and we set forth, we said we were looking for a prospect with that metaphorical DNA that could say he can be a life champion. Somebody's significantly different, and we believe we found him in these 20 guys that we're going to announce. The staff did an outstanding job of working tirelessly to recruit the whole Western region, and in this Western region, they were able to find the academic the components, the character components, and they were also able to find someone with that big vision that we talk about. We always say, hey, we're looking for those warrior men, and we want guys who say, I will become a warrior and make a difference in the community. We say, hey, a life champions, that guy's not afraid to step into an arena and say, hey, change has to happen, and they're not afraid to build the collaborative efforts that need to happen, or to step in alone, whatever it may be. But no matter what, we're looking for difference makers to come out of this university. So the whole staff was led by our recruiting coordinator, Justin Riddle, and I think being a recruiting coordinator nowadays is one of the hardest jobs there are. The amount of data that flows in, the amount of inquiries that came to us, the data flow that he has to manage, and not only to manage the data flow, but also just a constant upkeep of, hey, the documentation for the NCAA compliance and just making sure that the staff is on point when it comes to relationship building and setting the vision. So Justin Riddle did a great job, and this is his first class as being a recruiting coordinator. I couldn't be more proud of what he's done. The staff, we're a brotherhood in itself with the staff. And so being on the road and recruiting and being able to work with these guys, I get to go to work every day and be around a family, which really makes me happy. And I think when the community gets to meet our coaches, when the players get to meet our coaches, they realize that they're not going to be just another piece of a big puzzle. They're going to be part of a family, and they can see the way the coaches treat them, that they're going to be considered like their own sons. They're going to make sure that they walk alongside them to say this vision of building champions while pursuing championships is going to happen. As we said, we were looking for a person that not only can help our program, but continue to make great strides on the football field, but help this university make great strides and make it a difference for the long haul. So as we look at these guys that we're going to talk about, I just want to point out that the average GPA of this group is represented at 3.4, and so there's some guys who are taking care of business both on and off the field. And I've enjoyed all the time and the families that we've gotten to know. I really appreciate a lot of the players that we did get to know, but unfortunately maybe we didn't. We weren't able to secure, or we didn't have the opportunity. I think where I look as a coach, I'm so excited about the next generation, what's coming up, because I see some really quality young people out there that are just looking for maybe places like this that can help shape their vision and help them come alongside them to make that big difference. And so this class, it shows you a lot of how we've come, and Joe said that it's one of our largest classes we have signed. What we were able to do with this class is bring in filling the gaps of a lot of positions. So while it's a 20-person class, you have 12 on offense, 8 on defense. I think all these guys are guys that are going to be stellar players for us, stellar community members, and I'm looking forward to seeing them develop. You never know on a recruiting class about how great they are until a couple years down the road. And we're talking about high school seniors that are going to become college freshmen, and that no matter what is a big jump, and we've seen that. Now we're prepared to help them make that jump through our strength and conditioning programs this summers, from our mentor programs, from the way we're going to coach them and develop them, and all the training we have ready for them. But it's still a big jump, and every individual is a little different. But we believe in all these guys that they will make an impact for us. So they go into the positions, and I start to talk about it. I say, if these young men, they're all unique in their own right, but I mean they're all going to make it. They're all going to make an impact. So let me start off first with Alex Benter. Alex Benter is a linebacker positionally for Corona Santiago, and he's someone with 6'4", 225. As we show the highlights there, you can see from Alex that his length will serve us well as we move him to more of an outside linebacker / rush end for us. Physical linebacker has a motor, and the thing for us when you play defense on our football team, you've got to show us first and foremost that you want to play with a different gear. Your 40 time at a Sparks training could say one thing, but the reality is how you play and the mentality is really what we're looking for. So we're looking for that guy who can say, hey, when it's time to get between the lines, I'm going to play faster than everybody because I just want it more. And Alex Benter was that type of guy. At 6'4", 225, he has a 6'6" wingspan when it comes to his arms. He's an all-CAF linebacker. He was named to the Big Eight league first team, and he's also all-area Inland Empire Defensive Player of the Year. So moving on next is Noah Bogardus. Noah's older brother does play here, so that it helped us to build that relationship with him. I think where I first saw Noah, though, is on the road recruiting in the spring, and where I felt like with Noah is just his toughness factor, his competitive factor. He's a receiver that can play the inside and the outside. He's a very smart individual, and he's got very great ball skills when it comes to body awareness. If you see from the clip right here, to be able to flip his hips, track the ball. For what we do with our gun spread offense that we have, we want to push the ball vertically, and we also want to be able to have a toughness factor on the perimeter to be able to block in the run plays. Noah brings that toughness factor, and also I believe with his ability to understand the game. Dad's a football coach, and he's someone I think will learn the system quickly, and he wants to compete. Once again, another IE kid coming out of Norco High. We're excited to have these more local kids stay around. Moving forward is Jacob Brazil. Jacob go all the way up to the North Pole High, not the North Pole, to be mistaken. But however, Jacobs has a former high school not classmate, but Shane Hurst, who went to his high school. So with Jacob, he knew about our school, knew how great it was, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to bring him in to play O-line. And he's a tough young man who was named to the first team Division II All-State team as a deep. First team also named as lineman of the year. So for Jacob, he brings he's 6'2", 300. There's a physicality about him. You can see right there, putting the ball in his hands too. The man just likes to play football, and we're excited to have him. Coming on next to Josh Brokenball. Josh was one of our first commits of the year. And for Josh, you can see his skills at 6'3", 196. He's coming out of Oak Hills High School. We've been tracking Josh since his junior year. And I do want to mention that these relationships we build, our staff does a great job. We're talking about year and a half, potentially even 2 years of relationship building and recruiting that these guys have been through. So to come to a signing day conference like this, there's so much hard work has come to a conclusion, and I can't speak highly enough about my staff for their ability to build those relationships. But Josh Brokenball is a 2-year varsity starter for Oak Hills High. Second team All-Mojave League. Josh brings us that one-on-one threat on the outside that if you want to crowd the box, Josh himself at that big frame that he does have. I've seen him recently. I think he's even bigger now than 196. But you've got a guy on the perimeter. Once again, for our offense, he can win his one-on-one. You can see here he can catch the ball in traffic, and he can obviously break away and be that guy who can take it vertical. So Josh is a great addition to us. He's all about APU, and we're all about him. Moving next is Sayu Cisse. Sayu is originally out of Germany, and he came and played high school ball at Aquinas High School in the San Bernardino area. So with Sayu, we've been tracking him for over a year now, and when you look at this guy, a young man with Sayu, is that he's a tremendous athlete. The quarterback position for us is something we're constantly developing, and while we have some veterans in the barn, we feel like we've got to continue to load up and continue to have. That's why we brought in 2 this year to make sure that we have always a great quarterback in our program. I've been had seasons where we've had to go to our 5th quarterback, and so you never want injuries to happen, but you always got to know is that you have athletes ready in the barn ready to go. I think Sayu is going to fit our system well. Not only does he have a big arm, but he has the ability to be that dual threat that we want with our gun run system. And I think where you love his personality is infectious. And in 24 games as a starter, he won 21 of them. In 2017, he completed 112 out of 193 passes for over 2,100 yards while throwing 26 touchdown passes. He's named All-League and offensive first team. Well, without a quarterback, you got to make sure you got to protect your quarterbacks if you're going to bring these kind of athletes in. And Brandon Funke is a guy out of Los Osos High School. Alex Pierce, their head coach, and Coach Pierce took it over this last year, and he does a very good job of developing. Coach Martinez, his defensive coordinator, they've all been working together. I think Brandon is a late bloomer. His size of being him at 6'5", 285 fits well within our O-line. Jackie Slater is our offensive line coach, and Coach Thomas is assisting him. And one of the things we know is that Coach Slater will tell us all the time, it's a big man's game. And so on our O-lines, we like to recruit size. We like to recruit somebody who's got the long arms and the physicality that Brandon does. Brandon's going to continue to develop. He was first team all baseline league, which I think is one of the toughest leagues in the California state. And because every week you're going to have tremendous competition. Brandon's a guy who's proven in that league that he can play week in and week out and compete with the best of them. I think he's got a bright future with us. Moving on, Jamel Jones, 6'4", 190 receiver out of Grace Brethren High School. Grace Brethren's head coach is a prestigious alum of ours, is Josh Henderson, and they did a great job this year, going all the way to state. And they are CIF. Jamel was CIF Southern Section Division A champions. He scored TD in the state championship game. And one of the things I like about Jamel is his long frame, but really his infectious smile and personality. The team loves him. We were talking to different people at the school. They just couldn't stop bragging about the type of servant he was, the type of heart he has, and just his ability to want to play with the team. He's the ultimate team player. Once again, he's a big, tall receiver. He can win his outside one-on-one battles. As you can see from the film, he has a special teams ability to return kicks. For a long guy, for us, so it stood out is that to be able to change directions the way he did shows his quickness and his strength and ability. Jamel also will be running track for us at Azusa Pacific. Moving on to Spencer Luce. Spencer is from Mercer Island High School. Spencer is a long snapper, and special teams are vital. We saw that in the Super Bowl, how critical special teams are. So for Spencer, being able to bring him in for that position, he's a rocked up guy, man, with all the muscles sticking out, and he's a long snapper specialist. So at 6'3", 210, Spencer's a guy who will get in there and begin to compete and bring that specialty of long snapping and also covering kicks the way he can as a long snapper. I think it's going to benefit our special teams. Going on to Michael McDonald, linebacker out of Roosevelt High School. Once again, another more local guy, relatively local with Corona High School. And I really do love the fact that we have the locals, the Inland Empire represented here because of all the families out there and the amount of talent and just the great hard-nosed kids that they continue to develop it out in the IE. Michael McDonald has got school career tackles records, a 4-year Letterman, 3-time All-Conference. He's 6'2", 210. With our system we have on defense, these linebacker-type bodies can be used in a variety of ways, but I also like to bring the linebacker-type bodies in because it really brings you that depth, that spark on special teams. A guy that can tackle that well and can be able to tackle in space, he can try to find a way on the special teams. And we're looking for Michael to come in and give us the kind of depth we're looking for. Out to the great state of Hawaii, the land of warrior people, who I have a great affinity for, and coming out of St. Louis High School, state champions. Michael Malapi'ai. Michael is a 6', 295 defensive tackle. Michael has the kind of motor that you want at the D tackle. I believe he could play a 3 technique and a nose guard. Being able to work with him in summer camps in Hawaii, he saw that his competitiveness, he saw his leadership, began to see how the other campers started to rally around him. He was directing traffic with them. But for Michael, he's got a great spirit, great work ethic and attitude. He's a student council leader, and his team out of the historic St. Louis High School, we're proud to bring him to the mainland. The 808 is going to be well represented here as we have a recruiting pipeline that we continue to bring over from Hawaii. So Mikey is what we like to go by, is going to have an impact right away on the D line. Coming up next is Fabian Marble. Fabian, we have him down as an athlete. He played running back and he played linebacker. We're excited to see Fabian fit into our system. Fabian, we know, has that 6'3", 205. He's someone who can play both sides of the ball, but you can see his explosiveness of running, his immediate downhill ability as a running back. It shows up well as he plays on defense too, because the guy can take angles because he understands that from being a running back. But I think about with Fabian on his recruiting trip, he's just a polished young man, somebody who is here to impress, somebody who wants to help out the team. The team enjoyed him. I enjoyed him. Parents are great people, and so we're excited to have Fabian aboard, and so we're looking forward to how he fits in our program. Coming all the way down from San Diego, Joshua McNish Hyder. Joshua plays D-line, and this guy is he is a road grader as far as 6'2", 275. He is the ideal of what you want to come to the D tackle position. Funny kid to be around, amazing work ethic, and his trip, I think all of our staff keeps reminding ourselves just how much fun it was to be with him. And so he's a 4-year starter, his all-section pick with 73 tackles and 9 sacks. Total 73 tackles and 9 sacks during his senior season. He was all CIF and all league, even as a junior. And so with Josh, I think where you see him and the ability is he takes up space inside. He's got quick hands and explosive to be able to make the change direction and challenge a guard on a two-way pass rush. So it's hard to find with a big guy like him, but we're really proud to be able to have this guy. And you can see from the film, I mean, he takes up a lot of space. And as you get to know him and over the time he's with us, you're going to enjoy his personality. Moving on the other side of the ball with offensive line is Freddie Muzio. Freddie, another big guy, 6'4", 285. He's from Vacaville High School. He's an all-league second-team offensive lineman. He's league champions with Freddie. We brought him on board. You can see that he's a seriousness about him. There's a good raw potential about this guy. He's got the long arms and power that we're looking for in the offensive line. He wants to hit you, but he's able to move in space, and he's got that athleticism about him that he's going to fit well with our system. At times we do want to go tempo. At times we like the screen game. Our offensive linemen are called to a variety of things, and so what Freddie brings is that type of athleticism and size that says he'll be able to handle that criteria. Moving back to the quarterback position is Jake Newfield, coming out of La Costa Canyon High School. One of my favorite high school coaches that I had growing up is coaching him over at La Costa Canyon, Dale Henry. And so we have our relationships down in the San Diego area really paid off when it comes to recruiting, which recruiting is all about relationships. When these high school coaches know the type of program you have and they know they can trust their players with you, that goes a long way when it comes to signing these guys on signing day. And so when you have with Jake is a 6'3", 190, once again, dual threat athlete, able to push it down field vertically, able to make the quick decisions. And with Jake, what you find with a guy like him, he's the ultimate competitor. So he is someone who's a team leader. People talk about him down in San Diego. I've had multiple people contact me when they saw he committed and just say, man, you really got a great one. So you see his athleticism to be able to jump over people. He's been playing the game of football for a long time. And with him and Sayud coming in as quarterbacks, I feel really solid about that position going forward. Antonio Oliveri is a tight end out of El Capitan in high school in Lakeside. Antonio is a tremendous young man at 6'3", 245. Antonio played quarterback for them, tight end, D-line. He'll be playing tight end for us, but you see with his size, he's a solid 6'3", 245, and there's a physicality how he plays. You can see from the Super Bowl and the NFL that the tight end position is becoming something that a lot of people it's hard to find that big body type that can catch downfield and be a receiver. So with Antonio, you have that type of guy who can be a receiving threat downfield, but his inline blocking is an ability to go lateral to vertical is outstanding. So enjoyed my time with his dad too, and the trip. The family's amazing, and we're looking forward to Antonio having a successful career here. Coming again out of the San Diego area, the North County, San Diego, Carlsbad High School. Coach Mack is the head coach, and he's doing a great job at Carlsbad. And Mack and I talked about Chandler for a while, and it was great to finally get Chandler up on this recruiting trip. I think both Chandler and APU found a great fit when our time together. And so, as far as Chandler goes, he's tremendous, has great strength. He's got great leadership ability, smart young man. When we turn the film on, you see he plays the O-line with the physicality. That's just hard to find. And whether he's playing a guard, whether he's playing a tackle. He can play all the positions, but the number one thing the common denominator is he's going to constantly be physical. And so his physicality stood out with all the coaches who reviewed his tape. When he came on his visit, you could see that, hey, this guy's got a chance to compete, and he won't back down from it. You can see the San Diego County area we're doing a great job of recruiting it, and I think Chandler represents Carlsbad High School well. Moving next back to the Inland Empire is Josiah Richard Lewis. And Josiah comes out of CIF champion Rancho Verde High School. Josiah is 6'1", 180. Coach Steinberg's been doing an outstanding job out there. Once again, continue to have the relationships with those head coaches so that we can be able to, have the kind of in-depth research when we do sign somebody. We want to know more about him than his highlight film. And having the relationships with these high school coaches gives us that ability. We've always found that, hey, when you go and start to find a guy and get to know him, you want to talk to other teachers on campus, not just the coaches, and you want to talk to the janitors. And the thing with Josiah, what stood out to me was in his CIF, one of his CIF playoffs games, is that he hurdled a DB trying to tackle him. And when talking to Josiah the next week, he said, Coach, I knew that he would tackle me low. So when I did see him, there's that hurdle right there. So when I did see him come at me, he knew exactly who the defensive back was. He knew I needed to hurdle him because he said the DB always tackles low. And so that type of intelligence and football IQ really shocked me. And I was like, man, this is great. Not only is he smart in the classroom, but this guy's got that rare football IQ that I think he's going to help him even make more plays in college. So moving on now to Barack Ross. Barack is coming out of Downey High School. Head coach Jack is one of our famous Hall of Famers here. And I tell you, when we saw this guy on tape, it's like how do we count the ways to use him? So with over 3,000 yards of all-purpose yards, I tell you what we have with Barack Ross is you've got a guy you want to put the ball in his hands. Electric speed, change of directions, amazing. All CF running back, rushed for over 2,000 yards, 31 TDs. He had 100-plus rushing yards in 13 of 14 games his senior year. And so with Barack, it's a guy he can play right away in the special teams, returning kicks. And you see, as far as giving him the football, it's just be able to get creative. Coach Carlton's going to get really creative about how we put him in space. And that's really what this guy needs to be. Get him in space, and he'll make the rest happen. So going on to Tim Smith. Tim Smith, local Charter Oak High School from Covina. Man, we can't say enough great things about the Charter Oak High School coaching staff. And with Tim Smith, as we tracked him, they were able to see that this young man who plays safety in his junior year, they moved him to an outside linebacker rush end. And at 6'2", 210 pounds, I think we found a home there. And for us defensively, it's all about that speed. And you'll see on the tape that with Tim Smith, he's going to pin his ears back, and he's got a speed of a defensive back, but a physicality that can really play in the box and be fine. So we're looking for Tim to come in right away and be able to try to compete and make sure continue to keep our sack records pushing forward. Next on, with the defensive side, another sack master and Jacob Torres coming out back to the IE, Grand Terrace High School. Jacob Torres was a Sunkist defensive MVP. They were 10-2, Sunkist League champions. He's two-time All-CIF. He has 21 career sacks. And Jacob Torres not only has an amazing GPA, but you see his football IQ is outstanding as well. He is going to hit you into the next game. And this is something about him on campus. I mean, there's just a maturity about him. There's a calmness. But when you flip the film on, this dude wants to get after it. With our type of movement we want to do on defense, not only can he rush the passer, but he can drop into our zone blitzing. He can cover a running back out of the backfield. He gives us this flexibility that we look for in our defense. All right, coming on last but certainly not least is A.J. Villasane coming out of Mighty Morse High School. And A.J. is a guy who is just instant football player, just add water. The guy, just put him in pads. He will attack the football. He will score touchdowns. But you look at his physicality, he knows how to play. He's the old school throwback type. Whether he had pads on or not, he's going to explode into you because it's just how he plays the game. So you can watch him. One of his biggest hits right here is as a running back. He's constantly exploding into people or exploding through it. So with AJ, he is pound for pound, just all muscle. And I think you see with his flexibility as an athlete, we're looking for him to come in and really improve our secondary. But at the very least, early on, I know that guy can cover a kickoff. So, but you know what? He may even play two ways for us because he's a smart young man, and just once again having a guy with the ball in space. But when you see a guy as a two-way player in high school, you know you're getting a great football player, and that's what we saw with AJ. We turned his tape and said there's no way to go wrong. So we're looking forward to bring him on board. At this time, I want to be able to open it up to any questions. Like I said, I can't say enough about just our staff and what they did. I'm so thankful and grateful to work with such great people, some real professionals, that they get me better every day, and they make the brand of Azusa Pacific University that much more proud. When we talk about one blood football and saying that it comes it's all about family. It's about that one heartbeat. It's about us being that that collective effort, that collective intelligence that wants us to say, hey, we're going to be great and we're going to represent ourselves well in the university well and what we stand for.
Yeah, I'd like to get the question started and just ask you, what were the top 2 or 3 characteristics that you were looking for in the individuals in this class?
Yeah, it started off with academics. You know, we saw a variety of film of great athletes. There's something about great academics that not only projects that you have a chance to do well in college, but you are taking care of business. And in this day and age with recruiting what it's become and a lot of distractions, you're trying to find that young man who can limit the distractions, keep the main thing, and understand that, hey, he is in school and he's going to take care of business. So we're asking a lot of these young men when we bring them onto our program. We're going to build them up, we're going to support them, but there's a leadership component that starts off with leading yourself first. If you can lead yourself first, then you know what? We can raise you up to become leaders of men, leaders of companies, and so the academics was first. Secondly, you want to go, as you saw from the film, is do they have that potential? Is there a higher ceiling? There's a lot of great high school football players out there, and I was impressed this year, just all the talent. But we're looking for that guy who's got that room to keep growing to be a great college football player. Who's the next All-American? Who's the next NFL draft pick? Who's the next guy going to camp there? Because we need to be we're a developer of talent, and we want to find that guy we believe is not only doing great things in high school, but he's got ability to forecast better things on the horizon.
Any questions from inside the room? If not, I'll jump into some of the Facebook questions that we're getting. So I have one from Jeremy Mercer, who is host of the God I Love Sports radio show on Hope Radio 24/7. He wants to know, are there any players in this recruiting class that are projected to start as a true freshman?
Yeah, that's a great question because everybody wants to know, can I play right away? And the answer is, I don't know, can you? So we believe all these guys have got a chance, and they have yet to play a college snap yet. So we never guarantee playing time, but we tell you this, is that you're going to redshirt. If you redshirt, you're going to redshirt yourself. We want all of our guys to play right away. And you can see historically, we play a lot of true freshmen. There's somewhere, someplace, if you can get on the field to help us win a football game, we're going to put you in there for that game. If we feel like we need to redshirt you and develop, that's just going to be evident, and it'll be evident to you as well. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You want to keep playing football as long as you can, and sometimes extra time in the weight room, extra time when it comes to study hall. It's only going to be good to benefit you. Some young men have the athleticism right away to play, but the stress level of college is going to restrict their nervous system, and they aren't able to give all they have right away. So every young man's different, but if you can play right away, why not play you?
Another one on Facebook from Josh Banker, who I like to call the premier free agent play-by-play guy in Southern California. Works a lot of Division II. Pretty much, you name the sport, he works it. But he wants to know, who's the one player on either side of the ball that you think makes an eventual long-term impact, even if not this season?
Oh, gosh. Now I think we go back to the original statement. This class represents overall depth for it. And so all these young men are going to make an impact. I think have the ability to make an impact. So, yeah, who's the one young man? I think all of them have got a chance, because football is the ultimate team game. We're not, it's not 5 guys on a court like basketball, where one guy really could lead you. And I know that's still a team sport, but the reality is football, it's the ultimate in oneness. A team has got to come together. Think about weaving a basket together. You're constantly supporting each other. So in this day and age, it's, yes, we do like the ESPN highlights of individual efforts, but the reality is football will continue to say, no, it's a team game. And so one impact, yeah, I'm sure all these guys will have their one highlights here and there throughout their time where they're going to show up and help us win games, but every game's won by a team effort.
And then there's a handful of them on your coaching staff. I see alumni keep popping in on the Facebook feed right now, asking questions, involved in the program, and even Jack Williams and Josh Henderson that you mentioned being the coaches. Yeah. Azusa Pacific football is out in the community and seems to be connected back to the program. How big a factor is it that they're involved in the program continuously on your coaching staff? But how big is that alumni involvement for your program?
Well, it's huge. I'm so proud of the alumni. We have graduated difference makers since 1899, and then so we're out there everywhere. We're out there across the whole world. And so what I see in the coaching community, I think it goes back to Coach Milhan. That you have young men who graduate from here and they want to give back. They're competitors, but they also see the value about how a program like ours runs, where You've got guys like Ben Byes, Rudy Carlton, Coach Revis, Coach Riddle, Coach Brown, Coach Thomas, and all the other coaches that they make such an impact. They can't help but leave wanting to give back, and because they feel like they would need to pay it forward for the next generation. So Jack Williams and Josh Henderson are doing such a great job with where they're at, and I know we have other alumni out there coaching. But I really love the fact that our alumni, not only in the coaching world, but they're in the business world, they're in the law enforcement world, they're in the military, they're in the business community, and there's always something uniquely different that stands out when you interview an Azusa Pacific alum, and so these guys are making a difference.
And then along those lines, this fall represents the 20th anniversary of the football program's '98 NAIA championship.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's an event being planned on campus for that group this fall. What reason do you have? Give you a chance to personally invite them back to campus to see this year's team?
Well, one, can't believe 20 years went by that quick, but I know as they get older, it's going fast. But I want them back because I want them to see the program where it is now. There are some who have come back, but I want them to see this is what it's become. And it's a nationally recognized. It's recruiting talent it's amazing. The brand has got influence not only in this Western region but across the nation. And I want them to know is that we want to say thank you to you. We want to say thank you for what you have done to lay a foundation that we can build on. I think that national championship team is really was a big breakthrough of all the effort that's going before it. They able to have that breakthrough of saying, hey, we can do this. Why not us? And so now you're seeing from that time, as I study the history of our university, I see a lot of big changes happened after that football national championship. And so it makes a huge difference. I think it opens the eyes not only of what we do athletically, but opens the eyes administratively. And you can check that national championship really created a spike in our growth, our enrollment, and it's the foundation that we still build on today. And so I want to say thank you to them.
Okay, we'll keep rolling with some Facebook questions. If you are in the room and want to ask a question, just raise your hand, get my attention, but I'm going to keep going back to Facebook here. Willie Fair would like to know which area of the Azusa Pacific football team just got improved the most by this draft class?
Draft. We draft them, that's right. Mr. Fair, as I call you, you look at, it comes back to the whole team is solidified. I hate to sound cliche or political about it, but this is really what this class represents. Is there's depth throughout all the positions now. It speaks a lot to what we do have still in the barn. We have a really deep roster right now. So we have guys are coming in, that unique playmaker like a Barack Ross that gives us an extra special teams. I think we're going to see special teams improve quite a bit, even more. But you're seeing that we have the developmental old lineman guys that can give the depth right away, but they also have the physicality right now as a high school senior to compete right away. And then you're also seeing with guys like Tim Smith and Jacob Torres off the edge that we play a lot of defensive linemen, and you got a Mikey Malapai and Josh Hyder. That, hey, these guys can bring the depth to our D-line because we like to rotate. Today's day and age with offenses running so fast and tempos, you have to play 8 or 9 D linemen. So having young talent like that we know have a gear to play the game, if we can teach them a little bit of something about what our system is, they can get it down well. I think that's gonna give us kind of depth we need as we go far.
Okay, I'm seeing 2 more questions here. So one of them back to Jeremy Mercer. Wants to know the current and former professional players from the program, Christian Okoye, Terrell Watson, do they play a role in recruiting?
Well, I think they do, and that's what I like about Christian. Christian's continues to have a great relationship with us. He's continued to give back to the university, and we continue to try to support him as best we can. But when Christian is on campus to come and talk to our team, you get to see a guy who's done it. He's been there, he's done it, and you also just get to see behind the curtain a little bit. Here's a guy who NFL football is over. He made his impact, made a name. But he's there to tell our guys that there's way more life after football. Plan A can't be NFL football. It's got to be part of the plan. It's all it's got to be. If it happens, it happens. But, and the NFL is coming through here all the time. The NFL they respect our program. They know we're producing great people. Whether or not our guys can show them on tape that they have that ability, it's up to them. But what Christian and even Terrell, as Terrell comes back and talks to all the guys, have a relationship with them, is they're able to see, guys, it's not like the magic football fairies crown you prince of the world when you become NFL. You still have real life you're dealing with. You still have issues, and you still have challenges. And so it doesn't make life all golden for the rest of your life. It's the next opportunity, but it doesn't make life like you arrived. And so what these guys like to do is bring them back and say, hey, it's a job, it's a tough job. We're grateful for the job of doing it. And I know Terrell's grateful for being with the Giants and the job he gets to do. But what you see is them when they come back is they're able to show our guys behind the curtain is that, hey, get your degree, continue to build those business relationships because life after football is a lot longer.
Okay, and then the last question, again from Josh Maker, give you a chance to kind of wrap up the entire class. Is there a defining characteristic or trait that summarizes this class, whether it be speed, leadership, toughness, academics, character, anything like that? What is that characteristic that defines this group of 21 guys?
I like all those. We just listed. That's great because this group does show it is a well-rounded group, and I can't say enough praises to the coaching staff that we have here because they found those guys that have all of it. They found the guys who are great athletes, academics, people, and they have the competitive spirit, and they also have that vision to do way more. And so, recruiting is a hard job, and I don't think people understand enough that it's a 1.5 to 2 year relationship building of investigating, of going out late, watching a high school game, of watching more film, of making those phone calls. The recruiting isn't just, hey, here's an offer, who wants it? It's I've got to really do the investigative work. And so it's driving to that school that no one else wants to go to that our guys are willing to do. When you look at the San Diego County, Inland Empire, the San Gabriel area, the LA area, where you're looking at even out to Hawaii, which I don't mind going there, but I'm just saying it's like the whole part is just, it's work. It's work. It's a lot of hours, and it's a lot of adaptation and relationship building. It's not this clean-cut business plan, how you roll it out. And so what we have here is amazing coaches who are willing to roll their sleeves up and work, and what they've been able to do is find the guy that's the right fit. And that's what you want to start off with. Now, the next journey for these recruits is, okay, are they ready to grow? And I think our guys that we signed are the kind of growth mindset people that are going to be ultimate warrior men when they graduate from here in the next few years.
Okay, great. Thank you all for tuning in to the press conference and for attending. We're looking forward to getting this group on campus in August and then seeing everybody else out at Citrus Stadium on Saturday, September 1st. For the season opener against West Texas A&M. Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you.